You know, sometimes it just feels good to take a break from the usual game genres I play. You know, also to go outside the box and play a game that is more of an experience than an actual game. No, I'm not talking about the interactive movies like Detroit Become Human or Life is Strange. I'm talking about pure experiences with minimal game elements like Journey or Beyond Eyes, because that's what Spirit of the North actually is. You play as a fox named, Fox, and his goal is basically to awaken the Spirit of the North. Well, not really, because in actuality he just gets involved with it. The game begins with him wandering around the snowfields until he basically meets a ghost that gives him certain powers. And with these powers, you will be able to go through the puzzle-like sections of the game. And actually, that's all you do in the 8 chapters. Well, actually only 6, because you don't solve puzzles in the last 2 chapters. As you can see, the story is very minimalistic, but to be honest, that's not necessarily a bad thing. However, you have to be seriously in the mood for a game like this, otherwise you will hate every second of it. What Spirit of the North is trying to do is to suck you into this world and give you the feeling of loneliness, but exactly that feels like pure relaxation. You are not fighting enemies at all. Your biggest challenge here are probably the puzzles themselves and the salvation of human spirits. Yep, you can save human spirits from bodies that died a long time ago, and they seem to come from a culture that seemingly worshipped a fox or something. And that special fox could possibly be you, who knows? What saving the spirits does is unlock skins for the fox. So if you want to be a completionist, here's something to do. Actually, it's not that hard to find them, only sometimes you have to wander around a bit and look for skeletons twice, because occasionally they are a bit difficult to see, especially during the snow sections. However, you won't find the bones just like that, and that's it. Oh no. First you have to find some kind of magic staff that has the power to liberate those spirits, but usually they are not far from the actual skeletons. Well, the puzzles are what you actually need to do to progress, but they are not too hard. Yup, here and there you might have to use maybe 10% of your brain capacity to get through a certain puzzle, but otherwise everything is very simple. But don't get me wrong here, I personally think it's okay that this game is totally easy because the focus of it is not the challenge, but the experience. That's exactly why I actually bought the game in the first place, and for the most part it actually worked pretty well as a pure experience. The fields are terrific to look at, and you might get the feeling of loneliness because you are a fox who has to walk around without seeing anyone, not even other animals. The only one who keeps you company is a little butterfly thing, or whatever it is, that can help you find the skeletons. He tells you which way to go or where to find your charging points. You know that this butterfly has found something if you listen carefully to the sounds it makes. Since you can use spirit powers, you can use certain abilities. However, these powers must be recharged after a single use. You do this by finding blue flowers that are all over the levels. With your blue power, you try to destroy the evil red power that you find throughout the game. This evil red force will weaken you in most chapters, but it won't really kill you. In fact, you can't really die at all in this game, which doesn't bother me in this case. But I can understand if you would have preferred to lose a life or something, because after all, this still is a game. As minimalistic as the background music is, it can still have a creepy touch in it. It gives the game an extra flair of solitude and mystery. But don't expect any voices to be heard here, there are none. The fox barks and the little ghosts make noises, but otherwise there is no dialogue, only ambient sounds. But this is not a bad thing, because the story can be guessed purely visually, and it allows each player to come to the conclusions all alone. Unless you know the legend this is based on. I don't know what it looks like on the PS4, but on the Nintendo Switch the textures aren't spectacular, especially the snow looks a bit like flour. At least if you actually look it up close with the camera mode. That exists in the game for, I don't know, whatever reason. Maybe you are supposed to use the camera to take photos of your fox in every chapter he's in? Well, nice feature that can lead to damn good pictures, maybe, but if you use it to inspect the snow or whatever up close, then oh boy. But to be honest, it could be much worse. You may have noticed that the fox looks a little bit blurry. Well, at first I thought, why does he have to look like this? But after a while, maybe, just maybe, this blurriness was intended to increase his status as a divine being and to portray him as something like a god in this world and for the tribe that worships him. I don't know, it's a bit hard to explain, but when you see how the ghosts don't have this effect, or at least not as heavy as him, but he does, then there must be a reason why he looks the way he does. But at least he is easy to control. I had a few problems with his jumps where if he's too close to an obstacle he tends to jump against something as if there is an invisible wall in front of him or something, although there is none obviously, but otherwise the controls were actually kinda fine. In the end though, Spirit of the North is a game you have to be in the mood for, otherwise you probably won't like it. The focus is more on the pure experience rather than anything else, which is why the game feels slow. But I personally enjoyed it quite a lot. Not the best in this genre in quotations, but still I would say that it is worth the purchase. You can buy it physically for the Switch and PS4, the enhanced version for the PS5 and Xbox Series X.